Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Hannah and this is Jar of Fireflies. Here you'll find content all about my life as an Orthodox Jewish homeschooling mother of 3. Today, it's Hanukkah. Okay, so I came outside and took the dog for a little walk so I could film this part because my house is loud, because my house is filled with construction and children. But mainly the noise right now is construction. They're in there doing some more work on different rooms in the house right now. So it's a little bit loud, but we're gonna go back in there and I'm gonna start making some dough for donuts. It is a made up recipe. Come here, girl. She's down here with me. Yeah, so I kind of made up a recipe and we are gonna see how this goes. I did a recipe last night for donuts. It was kind of a fail. Like, they weren't terrible. They looked pretty, but they just didn't really rise. So I'm trying something a little bit different today. I'm going to see if this works and hopefully it will. Otherwise, we just won't eat donuts tonight. Pretty simple. But okay, so let's go inside. I'll tell you guys what I'm doing and hopefully later in this video that will work. If not, you will see. Okay, so the first thing that I wanted to do was proof the yeast. So I added 1 cup of warm water and 1 tablespoon of sugar to my mixing bowl, and then I stirred that together until the sugar was dissolved. Then I added in a tablespoon of yeast, and then I stirred that until that was dissolved. And then I just let that sit for about 5-10 minutes. Only nothing happened. Like nothing, it just was still just disappointing. So I pushed that bowl aside, grabbed another bowl, went and got a brand new container of yeast and added in that tablespoon of sugar and a little more closer to about a 1/2 cup of the warm water this time, and then stirred that together till the sugar was dissolved, added in my tablespoon full of yeast, stirred that together, and decided that I would just let them both sit there. Competing yeasts. We shall see what happens. Place your bets now. After about another 5 or 10 minutes, you can see that they both proofed a little bit, this one very slightly, but this one pretty decently. So I decided to roll with that one. So I rinsed out my mixing bowl and then added that proofed yeast to the mixing bowl. Then I added in my other ingredients, which was the remaining water, a 1/4 cup of soy milk, a 1/4 cup of sugar, 1/2 cup plus 2 tablespoons of melted butter, and 2 eggs slightly beaten. And then I went ahead and stirred all of that together. Then I went ahead and grabbed my mixer because let's be honest, that just makes things a lot easier. So I went ahead and set that up, put my mixing bowl, and I attached the dough hook, not because I felt like I really needed a dough hook for this, though I probably do, but more or less because the other one was dirty. Okay, so then I started adding in the flour slowly. I was adding in a cup at a time. I was using a 1/2 cup measuring cup because that's what I had, but I was adding in 1 cup at a time and then mixing in between. I added a total of 3.5 cups of 1-for-1 Bob Red Mill gluten-free flour and then mixed it well until a dough formed. Okay, so my house is still really loud, so what are you gonna do? But the dough is ready, and what I'm gonna do is just let that sit for 10 minutes, then cover it up and put it over into the refrigerator. In the meantime, I'm gonna make my kids some lunch. We're doing a vegan mac and cheese today, and that's what's happening now. Okay, so we just finished eating lunch. It's almost 1 o'clock right now. The noise has died down a bit here in the house, which is fantastic, but there are definitely still people here doing some work. So my plan for this afternoon was to take the kids to nature group. However, my husband had to run out to a meeting, so I need to stay here at the house, and so we're here. So with that change of plans, I think what I am gonna spend my afternoon doing is just letting the kids rest and relax because they will be seeing their friends tonight. While they are resting and relaxing, I can work on trying to clean up a little bit here around the house because again, we are having friends over later tonight and I want the place to look a little bit cleaner than it is now. I don't know where my vacuum is. I'm gonna have to find a broom somewhere. There's just kind of clutter and mess everywhere. So yeah, it'll be fun, but we're gonna get this done. We're gonna make it happen. Okay, let's go. So I decided to start off my cleaning by just polishing all of the stainless steel in the kitchen between all of the moving that it's had while we've been fixing the floors and things like that, everything's very fingerprinty, not to mention people live in my house. So yeah, but this was just like a really nice kind of facelift spruce up. If you ignore everything else, at least my kitchen is kind of shiny now. After I had finished the stainless steel polishing, I started just kind of straightening up around the kitchen, just picking up, cups that were left out, other people's things that needed to be put away, trash that needed to be put away, just kind of all those very basic things. I always love how the simple act of something as basic as just pushing the chairs in under the table and picking up a little bit of clutter just gives this whole facelift to the kitchen. So that's basically all that I'm doing right now. The kitchen is brand new. It doesn't really need a major deep clean or anything like that right now. After I had straightened up a little bit, I pulled some towels out of the dryer and started putting those away. We didn't have a whole lot of towels. I haven't finished unpacking everything yet. So what we have basically right now, we really need. So I just folded up some kitchen towels, and there was one bath towel. I almost called that a human towel. That is kind of funny. So anyways, I just folded those up and put it away. And yeah, I think I'm going to be using this kitchen table for laundry in the future. I think I'm going to be using it for everything. I'm looking forward to many meals and poetry tea times and chess games and just all kinds of fun things like that at this particular kitchen table. I don't know why I love this table so much. It's just like a very cheap IKEA table, but I'm a little obsessed. Okay, and moving on to the living room or the dining room. It's supposed to be the living room, but for us it is a dining room. Anyways, it's very full of just boxes. I've unpacked some, but there is still a lot left to be done. So I didn't unpack anything right here, but I just kind of reorganized things, put a few things away, just tried to, make it look a little bit less cluttered because we are having people over and this needs to be a functional room for people to eat in tonight. So the biggest struggle that I've had in this room is that everybody right now is walking around through this room constantly. My kids, workers, me, everybody. And it also kind of becomes a dropping ground. Mail gets stacked up on the boxes by the front door, books get stacked up on the table, tools and garbage and literally everything. And then I've also been moving boxes around, boxes that I know I'm going to open last or things like that. So I've kind of got my own little piles of everything going on. Okay, so I don't know how long it's going to take for this dough to rise, so I'm going to go ahead and pull it out now. It's about 4:30 right now. Our friends are going to come over about 6:30. We'll eat sometime after that and make donuts after that, if they rise. We must see first if they rise. So I'm going to pull them out, cut them, get them into their shapes, whatever have you, and put them in the oven on the proof settings. That makes my oven like 100 degrees, which is like the perfect situation for my dough to rise. Here's hoping. All right, let's do this. Okay, so right off the bat, when I dumped the dough out, I could tell by the way that it looked that this was definitely better than what I had done last night. So promising so far. Okay, so I'm just rolling out the dough here and then I'll cut them here in a minute. You can see that I have set out saran wrap on top and on bottom. That makes cleanup such a breeze. Okay. Now, just one note, normally like the super traditional food right now is sufganiyot, which is basically a donut, like a jelly donut. It's basically a jelly donut. But what I am doing is a traditional donut. I am doing the donut hole part because A, that gives smaller portions for my tiny children. And B, I would really like to perfect the traditional homemade donut. You can buy gluten-free donuts, but they're expensive and they're often hard to find, and I can't order them online anymore. I have to actually go to a store to pick them up, which means I'm really not doing that so much anymore. So anyways, I got them all cut up. I put the oven on the proof setting. I put my trays in the oven and we'll see. I cleaned up my mess, which was a super easy breeze. The rolling pin was not dirty at all because of the saran wrap, so I could just put that right back in the cabinet. And the only thing I had to wash there were the cookie cutters. Okay, well, here's hoping this works out, and yeah, I guess we'll just see what happens. We've got about an hour or so before our friends come. I've got to peel some potatoes, and then when my husband comes back from services, we will light our Hanukkah. All right, that's what's happening here. So my husband got back from services and right away got started cooking. He made up this batter a little bit earlier in the day. Sorry, I do not have a recipe because he made it, not me. And for all I know, he makes it up as he goes. But then he started frying up the fish. While he was gone, I had peeled the potatoes and soaked them in some ice water. So after he got back, he was able to cut them up and then start frying those in a separate pot. Again, like I said in my last video, we are all about the miracle of the oil here. So fried foods, of any sort, are very traditional for this time of year for us. So there is the fish. He cracked me up at this point. He saw me filming the fish and he's like, no, show them a good piece. And so he pulled out that piece. So here I am showing you the piece he wanted me to. And oh, and he also made onion rings. He threw together just a little bit of onion rings. He probably should have made more, he told me later, because the kids were really into them and he wasn't expecting that. We ended up with the adults eating in the kitchen and the kids eating in the dining room. Usually we're all together, but it was kind of fun just to have an adults table for once. So there's just some of the food that we were eating, and the whole time that we were eating, our Hanukkah was lighting up the room for us. Sorry, I didn't record the lighting. It was a little rushed. And there are the donuts. Okay, so I felt like they were good enough to fry, and even if they weren't, it was worth frying because the oil was already there. Apparently it's good to make donuts in dirty oil, so I made them in the French fry oil instead of making a new pan. But I mean, I had made the dough, so what do I have to lose? You can see they're floating today, which yesterday they had kind of sunk to the bottom of the oil, so I felt like this was, again, an improvement, a good sign. Also, please forgive my poor camera skills there while I was frying the donuts, but as you can imagine, frying donuts in one hand and holding a camera in another doesn't necessarily work out that well. But there are the donuts all fried and cooling off. Okay, I also wanted to show you, I made one traditional sufganiyot for my husband. So this is just, you know, a little bit larger than a donut hole. It was small for a sufganiyot, really. Kind of in between a donut hole and a donut, and I just put some powdered sugar on top and some jelly inside. But here's the donuts that I made for everybody else. I just put some store-bought icing on top and then dip them in sprinkles because, again, presentation is half the battle, right? Definitely a big hit with the kids, but again, you put enough sprinkles and icing on anything and it'll be fantastic. Okay, now it's my turn to try. And the verdict is, yes, they are pretty halfway decent. Whew, okay, our friends just left. It's about 8:45, so definitely time to get my kids in bed. So, wow, what a fun night. It was so much fun having friends over. Okay, so I'm kind of looking around the kitchen like, oh, I've got a lot to do. There's so many messes everywhere, you know? But what I think that it's like literally everywhere. So anyhow, what I think that I'm gonna do now is just put the food away and get enough in the dishwasher that it's running overnight and then deal with the rest tomorrow, because why not? What else have I got to do tomorrow? What else do I have to do tomorrow? I don't even know right now. I should probably check my planner. Tomorrow's, yeah, I don't know, whatever. Fun times. So the donuts, by the way, they turned out pretty well. They did not rise as much as I would have liked. Some of them did kind of rise a little bit, but they were good. And they definitely tasted a little bit more like cake-like, I guess, like more donut-like than what they did yesterday. So I think that I can work with this. I'm thinking maybe like more yeast. I don't know, I think I need to do some research on like baking chemistry, but I think that I can work with this recipe and possibly turn it into something. But if you do what I did, it's not terrible. It's not great, but it's not terrible. And I think they need more sugar. I know that's crazy because I just slobbered them with icing and sprinkles, but still, like the donut itself didn't taste as sweet as I would have thought a donut should taste. Anyways, thank you all so much for watching. I super appreciate it. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed this video, and be sure to subscribe if you haven't already so you don't miss any of my future videos. Thank you all so very much. I hope you have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in my next upload.